So according to Carl Strucken, the Dutch actor who played the giant, from the filming of the final episode of season 2, he said this, quote, "The very last episode was the wildest piece of movie making or TV making that I have ever witnessed, and I think I will ever witness. As far as I could tell, it was completely improvised." End quote. So it seems that Strucken may be right on at least one level. However, for those who have ever transcended in their own thoughts, there is something much deeper to be understood here than mere appearances. After all, the reason why we keep coming back to Twin Peaks is deeply unconscious and transcendent in nature. If you were to have somehow, if this were somehow made, if you made it this far in the video, I want to say, you already intuit this sense of transcendence and don't need me to tell you that. But I will get into this a little bit more in explicit terms. And before I do, I just want to say the genius of David Lynch is that he knows exactly what works. He knows what he wants, and he knows it when he sees it. A mind disciplined and ordered by nearly 50 years of TM, in my mind, that would certainly factor in a big way. And the audience, in their quest for meaning, will happily bring their own ideas to what is being presented in the very same way connoisseurs of fine art bring their own interpretations to any object of art that appears in front of them. This is one secret of Twin Peaks and why David Lynch refuses to give away the show. Of course, this isn't to say that the entirety of Twin Peaks is just a collection of set pieces and is just one big art film, but the final Red Room scene most certainly has that sort of feel to it. To me, there seems to be more to the Red Room than just a collection of set pieces, however. We are shown many different iterations of doppelgangers, spirit doubles, or the dweller on the threshold, as Hawk says. Now, in episode 3, Cooper dreams of the Red Room. However, this time, Agent Cooper actually enters this realm through Glastonbury Grove, that portal tucked away deep in the forest. Glastonbury Grove, England, is the final resting place for King Arthur, so I suspect there's some sort of connection there somewhat, which is also, King Arthur is an area of great mystery and is said to be the gateway to the Celtic otherworld, which involves giants and runs parallel to other story elements used in Twin Peaks. So much of the Arthurian lore has already been discussed many times before, but it's just worth a quick mention. Now, I tend to think of these elements as introduced more likely by Mark Frost than David Lynch, the Glastonbury Grove part. But I mean, does it really matter? I don't think so. But simply because the transcendent nature of Lynch's work could effectively deliver this sort of message with or without any cultural ornamentation. At least that's the way I see it. Now, more importantly, however, unlike Coop's prophetic dream early on in the first season, this time the Red Room seems to be the very place where the phrase "Fire Walk with Me" takes on a whole new meaning. A meaning that seems to make a lot of sense, at least to me. Is it the definitive, the ultimate one that makes the most sense? No, but it doesn't have to be. Now, despite Michael J. Anderson's public claims, Michael J. Anderson playing the Arm, he's claimed in public that Twin Peaks made absolutely no sense and was essentially meaningless. I think that I think that made the scenes truer to the original idea in the first place when we consider the dreamlike surrealism Lynch was aiming for. So I think that's ironic. But let's get back to this doppelganger stuff. Another compelling interpretation of Fire Walk with Me is this business of walking up and down the corridors flanked by red curtains, which is a sort of firewalk in an artful sense, but it also goes much deeper than just than just that, okay? This is going to get into the spirit double, the doppelganger part of it. So throughout the entire scene in the Red Room, it's a recurrent theme in the Red Room at the end of season 2 is that we're shown fire as well as doppelgangers or spirit doubles for just about every character. And so a firewalk in the Red Room seems to be of the spiritual kind, the metaphysical kind. It is the final test of one's soul as they are confronted by their own shadow, as they attempt to pass from one world into the next. The Red Room is a purgatory where one's courage is tested. Their courage, they meet an ultimate test when their soul meets the dweller on the threshold. You meet your doppelganger. You meet your shadow. So the final exam from the school of life, if you will, where one's soul must confront the dweller on the threshold, as Deputy Hawk describes it, which is to say the shadow self, the spirit double, or the doppelganger. Failure to meet the spirit double or the doppelganger with perfect courage is the failure is annihilation, and you go to the Black Lodge. Success is liberation, you go to the White Lodge. Ultimately, it seems there is a choice to be made in this place, a choice which is cultivated and practiced throughout our entire mortal lives, and one which comes into question at the time of, or one that, we reach this time of reckoning upon death. So in a sense, you can, in your life, prepare for your own Red Room moment. And when you get to the Red Room, hopefully you've done your homework in your mortal life and you meet this doppelganger with perfect courage, and you can pass on to the White Lodge without your soul being utterly annihilated. That's the idea here. So I need to lay a little more groundwork in terms of the significance of this test of the Red Room first, though. Now, despite the horrors which seem to inhabit the Red Room in the season finale, there exists a certain set of eternal laws which cannot be broken. Even the maniacal and animalistic Bob reverses time itself in observance of these laws after Wyndham Earle tries to bargain for Cooper's soul in exchange for Annie's. Remember that scene where he stabs him, where Wyndham Earle stabs Cooper in the gut? Bob indicates to Agent Cooper that Wyndham Earle has broken some sort of spiritual covenant or law, to which Wyndham Earle pays the ultimate penalty by forfeiting his own soul to Bob. To me, the message being communicated is loud and clear. There is an ordering or an underlying structure and a rule set of reality at the source level of existence which transcends good and evil. Even your most wicked and disturbing thoughts and subsequent impulses represented by Bob, right, this wildly evil character, we presume, even this character observes that a law has been broken and that he works to observe the unwinding of this broken action. Okay, so which is quite comforting if you understand, or better yet, experience this implicate order for yourself, which is quite easy to do with just a little training and a daily practice. So it's very interesting that Bob comes to Agent Cooper's aid in this moment. So that's a very telling scene here. Now, in Season 2, jumping back to Season 2, Episode 10, Major Briggs is camping with Agent Cooper and tells him, quote, "There are powerful forces of evil. It is some men's fate to face great darkness. We each choose how to react. If the choice is fear, then we become vulnerable to darkness." End quote. He's actually telling him, Briggs is telling Agent Cooper, he's giving him kind of a foreshadowing about how one is to behave, or the final confrontation in the Red Room. That's kind of what he's alluding to. So Briggs begins to tell Cooper about the White Lodge, and then Coop excuses himself in the scene to pee. As Dale Cooper relieves himself, we see an owl looking down at him from a tree branch above. Then a bright light appears and Briggs is taken away. Presumably, we presume he's taken to the Black Lodge, but we're not sure. But anyway, Briggs disappears before he can spill the beans.